Hello. Welcome to our presentation of best practice tips for online teaching in business and economics in times of COVID-19. We would like to share with you some thoughts and ideas on how to make digital classes more enjoyable for teachers and for students. If you have a look at the faces on this screen, you can see bored students and unhappy students, and some who may even have turned their cameras off, not due to bandwidth, but due to severe boredom or other kind of crisis. And we would hope to make it to here where students are engaged and happy and discussing things in classes online. How do we get there, and what was our motivation to actually try and do this? For our in our search portal EconBiz, we provide materials for students and for early career researchers. And during the first lockdown, people approached us and asked us if we could provide something on digital teaching as well. And so we looked out for some best practices in the field, and we approached German student council representatives and asked them, who are your great digital teachers, and please give us the names. And we actually got quite a number of names and approached these teaching assistants and profs and asked them to share their experiences and best practices with us. So we had 2 online panels and a couple of telephone interviews to get all their ideas and recommendations. And we try to distill 10 main recommendations from the panels and the talks with these 15 experts. And I'd like to briefly present these 10 recommendations to you. So number 1 is that the teaching concept is much more important than the actual tools. So it's important which goals are to be achieved with the class. Is there supposed to be interaction? Are the students to present something or discuss something? And once the scenario is set, the right tools can be found. The tools are important, but they're also interchangeable, at least a bit. So don't try to start with a cool tool and build your whole class around the tool if it doesn't fit the rest of the class. Number 2 is to plan the first event with precision and foresight, because it will actually set the tone of what students will expect, if they will feel that they are expected to actively contribute, if they're expected to turn their cameras on or off, use real names, or have some kind of code of conduct on how to discuss things or ask questions or be kind or rude in the chat, etc. If you actually do digitize your own learning content, do it in modules rather than in one piece. So if one little piece of information it gets old, that you don't have to redo a 1-hour video in order to keep it up to date. Another recommendation is to activate students right from the start using tools like maybe Pingo or Mentimeter or Kahoot, or integrated polling options like in Zoom, or even the chat options to answer questions, ask questions, or interact. And it's good to start the lecture with an activating part to get the discussion started, or use a case study maybe to get the discussion started. One recommendation is also to work with motivations. not only letting students know what is due when, and reminding them maybe when tasks are due and what they're expected to do. But one of our experts, Heribert Popp, said at the beginning of a new class, he showed people the curves of people who failed exams as opposed to people who succeeded. And those who fail are usually quite inactive at the beginning, and then they start getting very active towards the end. And so he uses an AI-powered tool to give students an early warning if they need to do more, and was actually able to reduce the failure rate by 50% by using this. Nudging may also be an option with the help of student assistants or individual students that you talked to before, to maybe put their cameras on or ask the first question, so it's easier for others to follow their example after that. Clarity and reliability are also very much recommended, to communicate consistently and clearly, and to make it clear to students when they expect what. So one recommendation was to say, well, do not send one task via email on a Monday and the next one via the learning management system on a Thursday. And students also said that they really appreciated a short reference page where they could find infos on timing and channels, and the most important infos on where to find what and when to do what. It makes sense to separate the content beforehand into synchronous and asynchronous, to think which content actually needs a process of which knowledge needs a process and discussion and evaluating. So this should be done in a synchronous manner, whereas other knowledge that can be transferred by reading a text or watching a video can just as well be conveyed in an asynchronous manner. Especially for the asynchronous content, maybe it also makes sense to think about reusing ready-made materials, not create everything on your own, but use nice videos, MOOCs, other open educational resources that are out there to insert them into your own class. And finally, number 10, individualized learning. So customize the learning process wherever possible. Jörn Hopman recommends the platform Serego, which is licensed for things that need to be learned by heart. It's apparently not as well for much more complex content. But also many MOOCs and other resources make use of this principle, so that little tasks can be redone, or you can take a test right away, or start towards the end if you think you already know your stuff. So this is also one of the recommendations. Please have a look at the slides or at additional materials, or contact us with any questions or comments. Thank you very much for watching, and please get in touch. Bye.